everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for stopping by today. Today I have a little bit different video for you. I am going to be doing a review and comparison of the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens along with the Zig Wink of Stella glitter brush markers. Now we all know that I love sparkle, I love shimmer, and I love glitter. And so when I saw these Spectrum Noir sparkle pens, I was really quite intrigued. Now I've been using the Zig Wink of Stella for quite some time, but I haven't really experimented with some different techniques. And so I'm going to kind of do that in this video with both of these different sparkle pens or glitter pens today. The Spectrum Noir sparkle pens come in these 3 packs. There's 3 different colors that kind of coordinate with each other. And then there's one 3-pack of the clear overlay. Now the Wink of Stellas, on the other hand, come individually, so it may be easier to replace colors as you run out, or it may be easier to pick and choose the colors that you think you want or will use. But both of these pens are pretty similar in their function. I'm going to show you how to get both of these started. For the Zig Wink of Stella, you're just going to screw off that brush that's on the end and remove that black ring. Now you don't need that black ring once you get these started, so you can just go ahead and toss that. And in the same way, these sparkle pens have this little protective ring. These keep the ink from flowing during shipping. And so you'll want to remove those and just toss them, and then you're going to screw that brush right back onto the pen as well. Now for each of these, to get them started, you're just going to kind of gently squeeze them until you see the ink flowing. Both of these brushes kind of have a clear chamber at the top where you can see that the ink kind of starts to flow and come down, and you'll want to just kind of get them flowing until that brush is saturated. Now, when you first get them started, it can be a little messy. You kind of saw me blob a little bit of ink on my paper there. That's okay. Just kind of wipe it off and get your brush kind of where you want it to go, and then we're all set up and ready to go. Now, I thought I'd do a little side-by-side comparison of some different techniques and different things that you could do with these markers or pens. So I wanted to go ahead and show you, I'm always going to keep the Spectrum Noir on the left side and the Zig Wink of Stella's on the right side. And I tried to choose colors that were similar for each of these techniques so that you could really get a feel for how these markers work and blend. So I'm starting out by just adding some ink to this watercolor cardstock. I'm using Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock here. I'll use some Nina later on so that you can see how they work on those. And I just kind of wanted to compare the colors and the sparkle of these. Now with both pens, you're going to get a ton of sparkle. I'm using the light on my cell phone here to kind of show you the sparkle because I feel like you get a little bit better idea of how these kind of sparkle. You can see tons of sparkle with each of these. So neither one of them, I would say, is better than the other as far as sparkle goes. But there are some key differences, and here's where the differences really start. So the brush on the Wink of Stella is actually the brush that I prefer. The brush on the Wink of Stella is a little bit more flexible than the Spectrum. It also comes to a finer point. Both of them are kind of a nylon type material. But I feel like as I'm writing with the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, that the bristles, because it doesn't come to a super fine point, they kind of want to separate, and so you don't get as smooth of writing as you do with the Wink of Stella. It's a little bit stiffer. The Wink of Stella is a little bit more flexible, and so for that reason, I think that I prefer the brush on the Wink of Stella over the brush on the Spectrum Noir. Now, both of these inks have dried. So the Spectrum has dried, the Wink of Stella has dried, and now I am coming in with just a water brush, and I am attempting to blend these out. Now, you can see that even though the Spectrum Noir ink has dried, I am able to get it to react with water and kind of blend out. On the other hand, when I take the water brush over to the Wink of Stella, it is not blending at all. Now, this can be good or bad. If you want a watercolor look and a sparkly watercolor look, then the Spectrum Noir, you can do that even after they've dried. However, if your project were to come into contact with water, it would bleed. The Wink of Stella, on the other hand, if you didn't want it to blend out and it came in contact with water, it remains more permanent than the Spectrum Noir. So I kind of just blended those out, and I thought, well, let's give it a chance to see if it blends when it's still wet. And so I went ahead and just added a little ink to the bottom of this and tried to kind of blend this out while it was still wet with the Wink of Stella. I got a little bit of blending, but it is not a very good blend at all. You can see, you still see the brush stroke on that. Now, one thing I did notice is that these Spectrum Noirs, on the barrel of the pen, there is no mark for what color this is. So if you have a whole bunch of these out and you take the caps off, it may be hard to match the caps back up with the markers. So be sure that you keep them straight. The Wink of Stellas, on the other hand, have a color coating on the top, just like the Spectrums do. However, on the base of the pen, they have a number that corresponds with that color. So it's a little bit easier to match up your caps on the Zig Wink of Stella. So just be aware of that. If you take your caps off, you don't want to get your pens mixed up. Now here I'm taking two different colors. One's kind of a lighter pink and one's a darker pink, and I'm attempting to blend them into each other. So kind of like you would do with Copic markers. I got a really nice, pretty good blend with the Spectrum Noirs. So I'm going to do the same thing. And by the way, this is now on Nina Solar White cardstock that I'm using here. I'm going to do the same thing with the Wink of Stellas here. I've laid down a lighter pink and then I'm going to go into a darker pink. And the color line that you see here, it's very defined. I feel like if I kept working with the Spectrum Noirs, that they would blend really well together. But because of the permanent nature of the Wink of Stellas, they don't really want to blend. Now you can see a video, and I'll throw up a card here in this video, where I have used these and actually blended them together to create some watercolor effects on a card. And so I'll link that here. And I also wanted to try kind of blending this Spectrum Noir out with the clear sparkle pen that is available in the Spectrum Noir line as well. And once again, I got a really nice blend. Now, the benefit of blending out with the clear would be that you're going to continue to have a high concentration of sparkle, whereas if you blend out with water, you're going to kind of lessen the intensity of the sparkle, I guess. And so once again, I'm trying this exact same thing with the Wink of Stellas. And once again, of course, I'm not getting any blend because they tend to be a little bit more permanent. And like I said before, that can either be your friend or your enemy, depending on what you want to do. Now, I thought it would be fun to try to kind of pick up one color with another color and kind of see how you could blend them out that way. So I've just scribbled a little bit of this purple on my clear block. This is the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens. I've picked it up with a pink pen here, a pink sparkle pen, and I'm just kind of scribbling back and forth, and you can see how that purple blends out into the pink, kind of creates a really cool effect. I've seen this done with some Tombow dual brush markers in calligraphy, and so I thought it would be something fun to try here. And once again, I'm just kind of write a small little word. Now, I am by no means a brush calligraphy expert, but I can write a word here and there. And you can see here, I really didn't get any staining on that brush. So if that's something that you're worried about, I didn't find that to be a problem. I'm not sure if this is recommended, but this is just what I'm finding here in kind of my own little science experiment here. So once again, I'm going to try the same thing with the Wink of Stellas, and I feel like this gave me a little bit better results than any other method of blending that I had tried with the Wink of Stellas. You can see I picked up the purple there with the pink and then just kind of wrote a word, and you'll see that purple blend into the pink very nicely. So if you're wanting to blend two colors of the Wink of Stellas together, I would recommend this method. And once again, I did want to show you, I didn't get any staining on either of these pens when I did these techniques. So once again, just showing you the sparkle. The sparkle remains whether you watercolor them out or whether you write with them. Whether you blend two colors together, you are getting tons of sparkle with both of these pens. And I feel like it's really hard to kind of show you the true sparkle of these pens on camera, but I'm doing the best that I can to kind of give you a good idea of the amount of sparkle that you get. So really beautiful sparkly results with both of the pens. However, I do want to mention that I feel like the color of the sparkle in the Wink of Stellas is a little bit more of a warm tone. It kind of almost has a gold hue to it. So I feel like it changes the color of the ink. Now, I did want to mention both of the colors come from the ink that is in these pens. It is not the glitter that is colored. It is the same exact glitter that is used in the clear marker as it is with the sparkle marker. So keep that in mind. The color is in the ink, not in the glitter itself. So now let's try some more watercoloring techniques. I've once again kind of scribbled out some ink of both the Spectrum Noir and the Zigs onto a clear block, and now I'm just using a water brush to pick up that ink and kind of blend it out. And you're going to see that I actually get better results doing this with the Wink of Stella. So if you're wanting to create a watercolor look with your Wink of Stellas, I would say that this is the way to do it. However, you're going to see that I get a much more seamless blend with the Spectrum Noirs because they are reactive with water. But you can make this technique work with the Wink of Stellas by picking this up with a water brush. And I'm just going to kind of blend these down. And then I'm going to come in and add a second color to these and kind of see how they blend together and kind of make a background. So I'm just adding a little bit more. This, by the way, is my favorite color of the Spectrum Noir. It's called Rose Quartz. It is gorgeous pink, corally pink color. And I'm adding in the pink champagne here to kind of see how they blend together. So you can see it's a little bit more of a peachy color. It's a little bit more orange in tone, but both of these colors are beautiful and work really well together. And you can see they blend really nicely into each other. Now for the Wink of Stellas, I'm using a pink and a dark pink, and I'm blending those together. Once again, I can get a pretty good blend and I get pretty good results. If you're wanting to watercolor with the Wink of Stellas, this is the way that I would recommend doing it. And I'm just experimenting here and just kind of playing around. Now you can see as I'm dropping in color on the Wink of Stella, it's not blending out. So you do kind of have to use your brush to blend out. It's not going to blend out like a true watercolor. Now, one of the colors that the Wink of Stella has that the Spectrum Noir does not have is this white. Now, it doesn't look very impressive at all when I put it down on this black cardstock, but you can see as it's drying, you can actually see it change on this video, which is cool. You can see it change before your eyes, and that white really intensifies. Now below this, I'm actually putting the clear brush pens of each of these because I wanted to see if I could kind of show you and give you a good idea of the difference in the color of glitter. Now, I feel like this is the best way to show you is on this black cardstock. You can see that really warm golden tone of the Wink of Stella glitter here. And you can see that the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen there on the left has a much more true kind of clear glitter effect than the Zig Wink of Stellas. So I feel like that the glitter in the Zig Wink of Stellas can kind of affect the color that you get, or if you're putting it over a color, it may change the color of the marker or the paint that you've kind of put it on, kind of give it a golden cast or hue. Now, I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but it is something that you may want to keep in mind. Now let's talk color and variety. Once again, the Spectrum Noir are the two columns on the left. The Zig Wink of Stellas are the two columns on the right. And you can see there are 19 different colors in the Spectrum Noir, one of those being the clear. And there are 16 colors in the Zig Wink of Stellas, one of those also being the clear. Now, the colors that the Wink of Stella has that the Spectrum Noir does not have are the silver and the gold, and it has a black and a white. And I think that that would be maybe something really nice that Spectrum Noir could add to this line. However, I feel like the range of tones that you get in the Spectrum Noir are really beautiful. They're way less primary. I would describe them as way less primary than the Wink of Stellas. However, I did want to show you, this is the red of the Zig Wink of Stella, and this is the red of the Spectrum Noir. So a little bit different. Now, on the packaging for the Wink of Stella, it says that you should store your Wink of Stellas with the cap up, which means the brush would be facing up and the color code would be facing up. Now, I looked on the Spectrum Noir packaging and there was no information on how these should be stored. So I went ahead and contacted Spectrum Noir And they told me that it really doesn't matter how you store these pens, whether it's horizontally or vertically, but you just want to make sure that you shake them up really well with each use, which I would say would probably be true for the Wink of Stellas as well. And I will mention that I have stored my Wink of Stellas horizontally for quite some time and never really had any issues with their function or problems with them. So there you go. There is a very in-depth look at two different glitter or sparkle pens. If I had to choose a favorite, I would probably go with the Spectrum Noir. But once again, it all depends on what you really want to do with these pens and how you want to use them. Now, I wanted to give you one last look at all of the different colors of the Spectrum Noir alongside the Zig Wink of Stellas. I will mention there are two Wink of Stellas that I do not have, and it is the dark green and the brown, but you are looking at all of the other colors here. And I just love the range of color in the Spectrum Noirs, and that rose quartz is my absolute favorite. Thanks for stopping by today. I really hope you enjoyed this in-depth look at these different sparkle pens. Be sure to head on over to my blog where you can get more information. And as always, I will have links to all the products in the description at YouTube. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.